Aloha, listeners, viewers, and welcome to the Cinematic Schematic, your home to thoughtful, or sometimes, nice and relaxing conversations on film. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and today, it's the late summer season. We've been talking about horror, we've been talking about freaking Greek mythology, we've been talking about superhero flops. You know what we haven't talked about on this podcast lately? The fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was right. The balance of power in the DC did in fact change. And this is how he ended up making Moana 2026. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to be reviewing Moana 2026. And this is an after hours episode, so, you know, if we're a little slurry, speechy, it's the Mai Tais coming out. No bars held. We're going to be spoiling Moana 2026 from the minute we say go. So, because, spoiler alert, there's nothing to spoil. It's the same movie.
Caleb, what about all the rich artistry that this new movie adds to the tapestry?
You mean the volume sets that look like they were designed for my PS4? Yeah.
Lighting. Oh man,
there's so much added to this. I see why they had to make this right now because there's just so much more story to tell.
You're right. I always wondered more about Moana, specifically. What if instead of having a very expressive, lively Maui, who is a fun character with cool tattoos, what if I had the version that looked like a statue? I always wondered that one. So. Listeners, you've already heard some of the voices, but first up, joining me, my co-host and award-winning filmmaker. He will go all the way to Hawaii with me for some cocktail drinking and some Moana 2026 reviewing. Laron Chapman. Laron, welcome.
Cheers to you, sir. Digital cheers. Yep.
Cheers.
It actually is a pleasure to be here again with you, despite what we're getting ready to discuss, because we're at least allowed to embrace it in a very tongue-in-cheek sort of way, because I think that's the only way that we would have a good time talking about this particular movie, because we've already seen it. And actually, for some of us, we've probably seen it 38 times, you know, but who's counting? So I can't wait to talk about how not different this version of Moana is from the classic.
Is that just how you remember it? Just how you remember it?
It's not quite. I mean, not quite. Because there were a few modest changes that do not enhance the movie at all. So, but here we are.
Here we are. Well, you know, Laron, I figured if we're going to go all the way to Hawaii and review a movie that came out 10 years ago or some sort of ghoulish live action quotes version of it, we should bring in two of our Moana loving friends, some of our closest confidants, because I want to go to Hawaii with my closest confidants. That is why. First up, we are welcoming back. She's a freelance writer all around the town. She also writes for Luxury Magazine. Alexandra Bohannon. Aloha.
Hi, aloha to you, Caleb, and thank you. Aloha to you, Laron, as well. Cheers, lads. I would have never watched this if I wasn't going to be on this podcast, and yet here we are. Thank you so much. Make sure to buy a ticket to your local indie thriller or anything you would like to give money, and then you can sneak into Moana later. I think that's the secret to actually, if you really, really are gung-ho about seeing this film in theaters, make sure you're giving it to the people that do need the money, who is not Disney.
Yes.
You know,
brilliant idea, Alex. Brilliant.
It's a great time to say this episode is sponsored by The Invite. The Invite, the movie that you should pay money to go see and then go see The Invite and then sneak into Moana.
Yes.
Last but not least, we've got frankly, the crux to this entire podcast. He is who I would call a Moana historian. He's a proud parent. So not only does he have firsthand experience with Moana, he has experienced Moana through the eyes of the next generation. He is an attempted author. More on that, because I'm curious. And I also name him King The Rock Johnson shit poster, Matt Lane. Matt, welcome, sir, for the first time.
Thank you. First time to this podcast.
This podcast.
Yes. My name is Matt of Oklahoma, and the ocean chose me to wayfind my ass to the island of liquor store to restore the heart of 8 to 10 beers.
All right.
Cheers to that. There we
Cheers to
go.
that.
Cheers.
Hey. And listeners, raise a glass if you're watching on YouTube. Cheers to you. You can give us all your feedback and thoughts on Moana 2026 by commenting below. Okay, guys, I gotta give it up. I can't see. The sunglasses are off. I'm gonna have to refill this.
Show us those beautiful baby blues.
If you guys, if you're listening, you can also follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, all the fun things. Your podcast player, like the video, shit post about The Rock. Yeah, give us a follow. That'll help us get discovered by more listeners like you. We're going to be talking about Moana 2026. But Moana 2026, in my humble opinion, is actually just a symptom of a much deeper, greedier problem. And this is these Disney live action, and I use quotes sincerely because most of them are like 80+% CG, these live action remakes. Now, here's the reason we haven't talked about these on this show. I actually think that by talking about them, I am putting it out there that it exists. Therefore, you're more likely to even think about seeing it. I don't even want to give it that attention. We're making a special exception for Moana. So this is an episode we're going to air our grievances about this entire enterprise, especially Moana. But before we get to the Moana part, I need to ask you guys, why do we think these are soulless cash grabs? And Laron, I'll have you kick us off here. Why are these Disney live action remakes cash grabs?
Because they are, for the most part, pretty artistically bankrupt. And I think the writing's on the wall. These kinds of movies are exactly what we mean when we say soulless cash grab. It's like that is a term that gets used quite a bit for a lot of IP, but I think these are a pronounced example of everything that's wrong with that sort of thing. Because I've always said, if you're going to remake something and you are going to do a shot by shot replay of it, then you have not given the audience a reason to come out and see this unless you are going to improve upon or do something or deviate in some capacity from that. And I feel like these, especially like what was it, The Lion King was probably the biggest example, probably the one that's done the best of all.
Made over $1 billion.
Exactly. I will say the one perk that I will give The Lion King is it was the third date of my now 4-year husband that I've been with. So,
well, there you go.
That was our third date.
Okay,
one good thing came out of it.
One good thing came out of it. We had our first smooch that night. You know, hi babe.
And it wasn't enough to break you all up prematurely, so it couldn't have been that bad.
In fact, it bonded us because we had such visceral reaction to how poorly that movie was made, and thinking like, wow, how did you take something as magnificent as The Lion King, suck out all of the joy from it? You know what I mean? Why are the animals you realize that so much of what makes that animation work is actually seeing like the animation, like their mouths moving, like personalities coming out through the performances. And you just don't get that when you did the hyper realism shot by, and I struggle to say that one's even live action because it's still digital. It's all animated. I consider live action like there are human beings that are replacing the things that you saw, and there are none in that. So
it's still completely 100% animated. There's not a single thing in those movies that's live action.
Exactly. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I think that was the start of this. I mean, and I feel like this is probably the most egregious example of all of them for me. Like I've tolerated these to varying degrees, but this is probably the dead last one of the crop. So
dead last of the crop. That is really saying something because we've had some pretty low lows in these live action remakes. Do you remember Aladdin? Do we remember Aladdin?
Aladdin was at least interestingly bad.
Yeah.
You know, like at least we got an interesting Will Smith performance. You know, I was like, there's something in here. Like, you know, like it wasn't
worse than Snow White. Did you even see Snow White though? That's okay.
Honestly, I didn't even watch it.
I didn't watch it either. I gave up. But even on Disney Plus, I was like, no, I don't want to waste time. Matt Lane, what do you think about soulless Disney remakes? Why are they soulless? Why do people care?
So I had a speech ready, but I have to divert just a second to jump off of Laron's point there about dates. You know, just like a bad movie, just like testing the date. I had the exact opposite experience long before release. I actually saw an amazing movie with a bad date, and she complained about it. And I was like, oh, okay, so this isn't going to work out. And
what was that movie?
Jet Li's Hero.
Oh, that's an amazing movie.
Okay.
Yeah, incredible movie.
All right.
And she was complaining the entire time.
Oh man!
And talking about, man, we should have
seen
the
motorcycle, right? Where he smashes the motorcycle down, right?
No. That's
no. Hero. I'm thinking of the one. Sorry.
The one is awesome. It's
also
not
good,
but it's
Jet Li
awesome.
movie. Wait, I mean, you're talking about Hero, the more artistic one, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
with Crouching Tiger and.
If you watch a bad movie and it doesn't kill your relationship, then it's special.
Yeah,
facts.
But anyway, sorry. Back to the reason we're all here. Honestly, I feel like, and I know this is going to be incredibly shocking to my friends here, I am honestly thinking y'all are a little too negative about this whole experience. There is a lot of joy to be taken from a movie like Moana 2020 Dicks. And is it a good movie? Absolutely not. No, but it is an experience. And to me, it's like jazz, like the jazz, you listen to the notes they're not playing. It's like with this movie, listen to the artistry they're not delivering. Now, yes, this is a shot for shot remake, but the choices that they make, even in the minute details of that, because you can't do a shot-for-shot remake in a completely different medium, how they get there and the small choices they make, the small differences they give, tell you so much more as to what's going on behind the scenes that is way more interesting than the actual plot of the movie is. It was a fascinating movie to me, for all the wrong reasons, mind you, but I had a great time with it, and we will absolutely get into it. But again, I have to specify this was a dog shit movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. We will talk more about the Moana. These live action remakes, though, I'm interested, Matt. This one in particular. Well, we'll get into it. I think a lot of this has to do with The Rock. The Rock is the thing that
most
makes
of it. Yes,
you're like, I'm really curious about what the story is here. Alexandra Bohannon, what's your deal? What's your thoughts on Disney remakes? Why are they soulless?
I mean, to kind of echo the table here, they're soulless because at their heart, it is just about money. It's just about licensing. It's just about Halloween costumes and subway tie-ins. Actually, this is a fun story. So I was visiting my family in Tennessee, and there was a Subway in the Walmart I went to, and Subway is giving away Moana tickets if you buy their Moana like tie-in meal. And I was like, okay, maybe that's how I see Moana for the podcast is buy the Subway sandwich, and then at least I get a sandwich, and then I see the movie for free. But then we found more creative ways to get around solutions regarding seeing Moana. But yeah, it's just for something to have a soul, for something to have a heart, it has to have people behind it that have values and a vision. And these are just I know that the director who directed not live action, good lord, the Disney version of Hamilton, and did he do the stage version as well? The director, I can't remember.
He did. So he had directed the live stage movie, the version that's on Disney Plus. He directed that.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously there is a man that has some artistic integrity to convey some idea, right? But on the other hand, it's just like we're kind of furthering this bereft, regurgitated IP society that it just exists to sell itself. It doesn't have any real meaning. Like, I struggled watching this movie, and I was watching it actually with Matt and some friends. Like, I struggled watching this film because it just, the pointlessness and the futility of it all. And to Matt's point about the changes that were made are actually really interesting. But they're so small. It's like, why am I even watching this? Especially from the perspective of even the performances. Like, The Rock was the guy. Like, he was the guy himself in the original version, but yet his performance here is so much worse than his
Way
animated
worse.
performance.
We'll get into it.
So it's just really a fascinating case study. I remember seeing Maleficent in theaters, and I loved like Sleeping Beauty as a child, and that film really grabbed me. I thought that was very interesting, and I know they've kind of done some of that tap dancing with the villain story of like Cruella. I didn't see that one, and I think there's some times where they're trying to do something a little bit different and not just shot for shotting the same thing, but there's just heartless, soulless.
Yeah.
It only exists to make money, to print money, and for anybody that pays money to see this, I just feel kind of sorry for you. I'm glad it employed a lot of people. That's the only thing That's the only thing really I could say
People
nice
got
about
paid.
it. It employed a lot of people of color.
Indigenous Polynesian people got paid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually
That's a good.
I want to bring that up while I'm thinking about it. Is like I saw in the background. There's actually more live actors in the background of this movie than there was in the background of the animated Moana movie, and they, unlike animators, they actually employed a few fat people here for these actors. It's like it takes place in it's Polynesian actors. It takes place in, like, I don't want to say Hawaii, but that area, where Polynesians are much more genetically predisposed to be overweight. That's just genetics. And yet we actually get fat people in this movie. In the previous one, it's like there's very few background characters and they're all rail thin. I'm just like, okay, chalk 1 point for Moana 2026. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think
I didn't mean to jump on your point there.
No, you're good.
No, you're fine.
It's one of the things I had noted as a positive was exactly what you just said. Like, some indigenous people got paid, and like there's not exactly a ton of job work out there for people at this sort of scale. So here's, I guess on that note though, this sort of dovetail into like the one argument that I've come up with for these live action Disney remakes. And I'm not saying I buy this argument. It should be very clear. This is an argument that I'm like, there might be something there. Disney has a history of, unfortunately, adapting to the times, which often has historically meant there's racist caricatures. So Aladdin being one example. You name, there's tons of movies in their history. And one of the things the live action adaptations, the opportunities, I should say, that they provide, again, I'm not saying choices, I'm saying opportunities, is, that was definitely not acceptable. Like, that was actually kind of like, and trust me, the original Aladdin, for example, is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, but there's definitely some like clear, like racist stereotypes and slurs that are incorporated in that movie that are just would not fly today. And we got a live action remake that sort of adjusted culturally for that. And I would say fixed it because, it was a major upgrade on that front. Outside of that, but that's like more of a PR brand safety thing and less a creatively motivated thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not like someone pitched a lot. It's not okay. Sorry. It's not like as if Guy Ritchie walks into Mr. Mickey Mouse and says, Guy Ritchie, this white British dude, here's the angle. We're going to tell this like new story about Aladdin that's appropriate and we're going to have all these consultants from the region who are going to come on and tell. No, it's literally like, well, if we're going to make this, I guess we should probably try to be like, more savvy about how we present people.
Don't get me wrong.
So that's why even that argument, I'm like,
scenario.
It's kind of corrupted. It's a little corrupt in that way.
I do want that scenario where someone just comes in and says, I want to make the wokest Aladdin you've ever seen. I'd watch the fuck out of that.
Snowflakes.
Well, they did harness Jasmine as being the more like, prominent figure in that one. I remember as well. Like, and then that actress went on to be in, what was it, Smile 2? She was she was.
She's on her way up then, huh?
She's on her way up now. He's like, no, but also like, and there's these movies all are handicapped in different ways, and some are like far more egregious than others, but like, what was one, like, okay, The Little Mermaid, for example.
Right.
The one perk I get out of that one is like, hey, a generation of little black girls now get to see Ariel not as a redhead, whatever. And and God, did that open up a can of worms culturally in the world where people were so adamant that Ariel cannot be poor old Haley Bailey. You know, like my Ariel has red hair and she has white skin. I was like, she's also a fish and not real.
She's
And
also not real. Yeah, they're not real. She's not real is the key there.
They have black fish now? What the fuck?
Exactly. They're like, well, my Ariel's like, well, then just go watch that one. But that also
it exists.
Yeah.
It exists. It's there for you. And this is there for them now, you know, and that was meaningful culturally. But again, we're going back to the well again. It's that these movies in general are not offering anything new, you know what I mean, for, you know, from these enterprises. And I think that makes it harder and harder and harder. I tolerated them, you know, and I've been somewhat defensive of them over the years. But with each successive film, I'm just like, it's getting harder and harder to justify why any of these needed to be made. I'm the one of these that I will say is the exception for me is the first one that came out, but I don't think many people even included in there, is Cinderella, that was done with the first one that was done with Cate Blanchett. I think that one was like a well done film, but it also is like that Cinderella kind of exists even outside of, you know, Disney in many ways. It's an ongoing story, so I don't really count it in the, you know, as far as many of these go, because we've seen many iterations of Cinderella and we'll get many more.
I think I forgot that one existed.
Most people
came out
do.
a while ago. Yeah,
most people do, and no one. It's one that people don't criticize. You know, pretty. You know, because it generally, you know, was told in such a classical sort of way. But I just feel like everyone since then, you know, like The Lion King, The Jungle Book, like all of these have started to feel like, oh, I see what's happening here. You can see the mechanics, you know, and it starts to feel kind of gross. And I think this was just an example where I was like, I was dreading watching this. And then I watched it and I couldn't even, to Alex's point, I couldn't even stay focused on the images I'm watching. My mind kept going. I was making lists in my head. I was thinking about dinner. And I'm not saying that as like a read of the movie, but that's genuinely what I was doing while I was watching.
Like, what the hell am I doing here? I have more important things in my life I should be doing right now.
Exactly.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the last thing I note I'd make about this is, listen, Laron, you and I have talked about this too. I thought this was a dying enterprise. I was actually pretty excited about it because, you know, several of these, like Little Mermaid did good enough to be a success, but it was not like a slam dunk home run. A lot of these have flopped, and maybe even this Moana movie we'll talk about here in a minute. But last year Stitch came out and it made over $1 billion, and I was like, shucks, if even one of these things succeeds, they're going to keep making all of them. So even though I think Moana is pretty telling about the interest for this type of thing, there is still, if they pick the right thing, they're making a hedge bet. If we throw 5 of these out and 3 of them make $1 billion, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, even if they're bad, it's just it's crass. I would say if we are going to insist on remaking things, there's a tale of 2 Pinocchios the same year. You heard about one of them. You didn't hear about the other one. 2 Pinocchios both hit 2 streaming services at the same time. One of them was the Pinocchio done by Disney that used all of the imagery from the Pinocchio movie starring Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was in the movie. One of the biggest movie stars, America's Dad, was in the movie. No one talked about it. You know which Pinocchio they were talking about? Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio that came out the same year and went to Netflix. And it's because he did a vastly different version. He did stop motion animation. Even though the story followed the same beats, it was a fundamentally different way of telling the story. And I think he was rewarded with Oscars and critical acclaim. And if Netflix had put that thing in theaters like they should have, then it would have made probably a lot of money. So that's my statement. I'm not against remaking classics so much as if you're going to do it, you need to have a real strong creative vision reason for doing so.
Tom Hanks was in Pinocchio?
He was in the Disney Pinocchio. The Disney Pinocchio.
Is that
they dumped it on Disney Plus during COVID. Yeah.
Is that the one where the Pinocchio was a little zesty?
You're thinking of the good Pinocchio. That was the Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
I promise you, I'm not thinking of that one. I'm thinking of Father. When can I be on my own? I have the whole world to see.
Yeah, he was kind of.
I don't think it was.
Was there a third Pinocchio?
Probably.
There are a lot of Pinocchios.
There are a lot of them.
I mean,
I
this
looked
was
up
very
that
recent.
the box office mojo. There's at least a page worth of Pinocchios from the back.
But no, this was very
yeah.
recent. It was around the same time
2022.
as
The one I'm talking about was 2022. Oh, not only did it have Tom Hanks, it was directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
As in
Are you
the guy who
kidding
directed the Back to the Future movies
How
and all
have
sorts
none
of
of us
other
ever
classics.
heard of this?
No, because it got dumped on Disney
It got
Plus and they
dumped.
didn't promo it at all. It basically doesn't exist.
The critics maligned it, and then
Oh.
it got dumped on Disney Plus, and like no one talked about it.
Alan
And-
Silvestri did the music.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was
What the
bad.
heck?
It was
I guess I
always
gotta
terrible.
check this out later. Gotta check this
CG
out.
was
later.
bad.
Okay, these
yeah.
just have to be money laundering schemes, right? Like how
That's what it feels
That's
like.
what they feel like.
the
That's what they
lucrativeness
feel like.
of this. Like what the math ain't mathin', buds. Like
Mm-hmm.
hire Tom Hanks and you just dump it on Disney Plus. Remember
Yeah.
when Castaway came out? Like everyone
Yeah.
flocked to theaters to see their favorite America's favorite super celebrity. Like
He's like
Yeah.
one of the last. He's like one of the last remaining non-controversial celebrities that exist. So I don't
Him
know
and
how
Paul
it
Rudd.
didn't
Dolly,
make a
that's
bunch of
like
money.
2 people.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's him and Paul
Probably him and
Rudd.
his wife. That's probably it. Him
Yeah.
and Rita. You know.
Well, on that note, let's talk about the original Moana, but not until we all talk about. I'm out of fuel, guys, so I gotta fill up. I am drinking a Hot Yonder Summer hard cider.
All right.
This includes some pineapple, some peach, lemon, and mint for the ultimate supper sipper. Yonder is not a cider I discovered until I moved to the Pacific Northwest. It is very good. Laron, what are you drinking?
Wonderful.
Laron is not drinking out of a pineapple, but he's drinking out of an embossed what do you call it? Moscow Mule Cup. And it's a cocktail I just made up. It's some Malibu rum. Oh, let's do that backwards just in case sponsors, don't want to get taken off the internet. But rum, pineapple juice, and a splash of pineapple coconut Vita Coco water. So, yeah.
Cheers to
I
that.
wish I
Homemade
had this.
cocktails. You went all in, man. Cheers to that.
I wish I had this when I was watching the movie.
Ding.
Oh, seriously. I have the AMC I went to does not have a MacGuffins in it, and it's like it's the closest one. It's got the Dolby and the IMAX and all that stuff. And I was like, this is definitely one of those. I was like, I know they're going to charge out I asked for the drinks, but I would definitely have gotten to MacGuffins beforehand. No
Yes.
MacGuffins though. Matt, what are you drinking?
So I am drinking champagne. I'm not going to go into why I'm celebrating tonight.
Just a good day to drink. Alexandra Bohannon, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a delightful Waterloo. In a Waterloo, this is guava berry. I've been buying the bulk pack at Sam's Club that has guava berry, watermelon, and Guy Fieri's lemon shaved ice.
Oh,
Which he has
sacred.
a bunch of collab flavors. The pineapple coconut one tastes like you're drinking a candle, so don't get that one. Unfortunately, the idea of it, I'm like, yes, those flavors, but it does taste like you just stepped into Bath and Body Works. So,
oh no, that's not good.
Yeah.
I just feel like if Guy Fieri was making me shaved ice, it would have bacon bits in it somehow.
Yeah. Bacon bits on the rim, instead
Yeah,
of
yeah,
instead of
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, they're all Flavortown branded, and those were on clearance for a while. So I'm like, I wonder how you're doing with your Flavortown branding if these are the ones you guys are trying to move.
Listeners, this is going to be very important context. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Before we talk about Moana 1 even, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he self-proclaimed one of the biggest movie stars in all of Hollywood. And to be fair, there were a couple of years, if you actually looked at the reported numbers, he was in fact the biggest movie star in Hollywood. He got his start. I think The Rundown, he had done movies before. Obviously, The Scorpion King was when he made his first appearance, but The Rundown was sort of a big breakout hit. And if you look at his career, he actually modeled it quite a bit off of Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. And they even have like a little cameo in The Rundown where they pass each other. Check it out. But so we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's built a career. Laron and I, of course, ride or die Fast and Furious fans. Fast
sorry.
Forever coming in like 2038.
I'm sorry, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to is the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson going to be in it? Yes, no, who knows? Apparently, they're not even filming, and Vin Diesel's out there acting like they're filming. What's going on? We live
And
in a
boy,
weird
did they leave
reality.
us on a cliffhanger.
And they
Oh my God.
Like
Yeah.
there is shit that is not resolved. But okay, cool.
But also,
maybe we'll
if
see
they-
a movie.
if it ended on a cliffhanger. Anyway, different podcast. We are fans of what The Rock is cooking in some of these movies. And I will say The Rock in Fast 5 did in fact level up the movie. Like, I just can't deny it. However, he has also since made a lot of career decisions that have been questionable and have been very confident about them, and they may have backfired. Once again, did the power and the DC universe change? Yes, just not in favor of The Rock. And Black Adam was a Titanic failure, and I think he bet quite a lot on that one. And now we're at Moana. So I thought it might be good for us to talk about on this podcast. What do we think of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a movie star, public figure? And Matt Lane, I gotta throw it to you first. Lay it down, because I think you have been following The Rock more closely than all of us the longest.
Oh, honey, if you throw it to me first, you might not give anyone else any time to speak.
Take it away.
Okay. I don't like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I don't like him as a person. However, I find him fascinating. Now, here's what everyone knows: he's a huge actor. It's like, no matter how many flops he's had, he's still a gigantic name, and he's still a name everyone fucking knows here. But what a lot of people don't know, unless you're in the wrestling landscape and have been in the wrestling landscape for quite some time, is some of the context that went into The Rock being the fucking weirdo he is today. So wrestling is a very insular, very weird, and very arcane, close-knit community. Up until very recently, it was honestly a very shadowy kind of organization where, like, no one talked about it, like, because everyone's playing a character. And not only are you playing a character, you're playing a character 24/7. Like, if you're out in public as a pro wrestler, that's the character you're playing. Just like, even if you're just getting dinner, or if you're just at a bar, if you're signing autographs. And this is the life that not only that he was in as an adult, he is a third generation wrestler, which means his parents were wrestlers. His grandparents were wrestlers. He was born into this life of playing a character 24/7, 365. If you ever wonder why Rock is like that, it's because, just like in wrestling, he is playing he's not Dwayne Johnson. He is playing the character The Rock. Even since 2004, when he left WWE as a full-time star. Even as an actor, even if he's only being credited as Dwayne Johnson, he is The Rock. Even if he's like giving interviews on the Tonight Show or whatever the fuck late shows are happening these days, he is always, if there is a camera around, he is The Rock. And the problem is, because he is a third generation wrestler, he knows how to be a successful wrestler. Even before he even approached Hollywood, he was the wrestler. He was like probably the most famous wrestler who's ever existed, aside from maybe Hulk Hogan, maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin, and a later generation, maybe John Cena. So he was already at the top of the totem pole of pretty much any wrestler who ever existed before he even tried to get into Hollywood. He knows how to be a successful wrestling character. He's still, even in his fucking 50s, he's still working out the kinks of how to be a successful Hollywood character.
Yeah.
There is, if he was doing this shtick still in wrestling, he would be incredibly successful, because he is like bouncing into wrestling occasionally. And as much as I hate his wrestling character, he is incredibly successful at doing it. But he tries to
Final
do his
Boss was actually inspired. I actually, as much as I hate to admit it, I thought it was it was a very well-timed plot twist. Yeah.
Yeah. I see the appeal of it, even if I don't personally like it. I definitely see why other people like it. But he's still trying to figure out exactly, he's trying that exact same wrestling shtick here on people who don't watch wrestling. And it just, sometimes it works, but for the most part, like here, like Black Adam, like all of that, it just fucking falls flat. And now here's another thing with the politicking that he does. It's not enough for him to be the coolest guy. It's not enough for him to be a cool guy. He has to be the coolest guy in every room he's in. It's not enough for him to be a superhero. He has to be the superhero that beats Superman. It's not enough for him to be a demigod of the wind and sea. He has to be the big, you didn't see where I'm fucking going here. Now,
he is Maui. Oh my gosh.
He's not just playing a character that is a god. He is that character. This is a wrestling holdover as well, especially from when he grew up. You had to fiercely guard your spot in pro wrestling. Otherwise, people were going to be taking your spot. Wrestling was an extremely cutthroat business. It is still to this day, but even more so when he was growing up. So it, especially from the politicking background that he came from, he is taking pro wrestling lessons into Hollywood, where it's not enough where you can just be the cool guy on the card. You have to get in tight with the bosses. You have to get your management team in touch with their management team and say, hey, what if we really just change things around a little bit so I was just a little bit cooler here? What if I got some extra cool guy lines here that just, really set me apart from everywhere else? Hey, what if, crazy idea here, what if Black Adam was stronger than Superman?
Well, and this is also, he notoriously has at least in a lot of his contracts has had like he can't lose a fight. Like in his contracts for the movies, he must, which is where it's interesting. We won't go down this road too much, but like this is why the Fast and Furious franchise has been such a sensitive spot for him, because for a lot of reasons, one of which is both Vin Diesel, Jason Statham, and The Rock all have the same contract. Like that's their whole, they all can't lose fights. So what do you do?
It's wild. It's wild to me.
I'm sorry. Imagine being that sensitive of a person. I can't even imagine.
As an actor, it's insane. But as a pro wrestler, it actually
makes sense.
It affects your well-being if you lose a fight. It affects your financial well-being if you're losing fights.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for Vin Diesel. It doesn't make sense for Jason Statham. But if you grew up in the wrestling business, it makes perfect sense to say, actually, I can't lose to this guy. He's an up-and-comer. He's young. He hasn't proven himself. The audience is going to think I'm a dweeb if I lose to this guy. And if the audience thinks I'm a dweeb, then I'm going to lose marketing power. Then I'm going to I'm not going to be able to draw as much money.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, as an actor, all of this is completely bonkers dumbass. But because Rock never stopped being a pro wrestler, this is the life he's living. And I think it's very fascinating to watch this wrestling character try to make it in Hollywood and try to apply his wrestling lessons into the fucking Hollywood machine.
Yeah. I think
Sorry, what was the question again? I've been ranting for the last 20 minutes.
That was a great essay.
I know.
We should make that a video essay and like add like clips from The Rock's performances into it. I like that.
Yeah, that would be like one of the reels that are on TikTok where it's like, let me tell you about The Rock, and then there it goes.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
No, it was amazing. I just was asking, like, what are your thoughts on The Rock, and you gave it to us. But no, I mean,
was that the question? Jesus Christ.
No, but I think it's a great, your response is really helpful context though, because I think part of what makes The Rock compelling is there's the brand Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah. And this is the one that can't lose fights. This is the one that makes all the really mediocre movies you forget about instantly, that made Red Notice, that made Rampage, that made Skyscraper. See, you probably don't remember any of those movies.
San
Andreas. Yeah.
And just like wrestling, you could, if you ask a wrestling fan, what's your favorite wrestler? Rock's probably going to be in at least your top 5. If you ask them to name, hey, what's your favorite Rock matches? They're not going to give you shit. Because just like Rock's movies, Rock's matches were inconsequential. It's the character he's playing, not the matches he's delivering to you. Yeah. There's like one match where Rock fans can point to with him versus Hulk Hogan, which ironically was actually like one of the greatest matches of all time. But I hate to say is probably more Hulk Hogan than Rock. But, I'm sort of a Rock hater, so, whatever. But,
well, I just think it's interesting because you've got the persona of The Rock, which again, I love that you put it that way, because you're right. That is totally how wrestling works. And he's brought that same approach to the character. The character in wrestling was The Rock. The character or brand in Hollywood is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, or just Dwayne Johnson. And he's the guy, he's very professional. He's very clean. He's humble, but then coincidentally also is able to get all these weird expensive contracts where he doesn't lose fights. And it's just a weird persona where he's a brand. And then every once in a while, what's interesting to me is every once in a while I'm like, he'll do a thing, or I've seen a movie where I'm like, oh, he might be able to act. Like he'll deliver some, like he'll have like a sensitive moment where I'm like, no, he's not just a disposable face of a brand. Like he actually might have the juice. And then he consistently does not go down that path. However, at this precise moment we're in, and I don't know exactly why. I think it probably has something to do with the fact that he's getting older and his body can't keep up anymore. But he's just did, of course, he just did a good run this last year for his Oscar bid, and that didn't work out for him with, sorry, I'm totally drawing a blank.
Smashing Machine.
Smashing Machine.
Thank you. Smashing Machine. And that was not the role. I didn't, that's a different podcast. I wasn't crazy about it, but it didn't win him the sort of like acclaim he needed to get, or awards momentum he needed to even be nominated for an Oscar. So he's in a spot where he actually has to be really good. He can't just like market strong arm his way into winning an Oscar.
The weird,
and you're starting. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I weirdly compare him to someone like Jennifer Lopez, who I think both of them have the most egotistical, like, celebrity personas, like obnoxious, like very me, very vanity focused. They are not without talent. I've seen J-Lo in good movies. I've seen J-Lo in really terrible movies, but consistently they do a thing that doesn't stretch them, that's right within their range. She has a rom-com on Netflix right now, Office Romance, where she's playing J-Lo. But then she did have a sneak little bid, like with Hustlers, where people were like, she's going to get her supporting actress nomination. And she wanted it so badly. She has a whole documentary, boo-hoo crying when she saw that Scarlett Johansson got 2 nominations that year. They nominated her twice and said, screw you, J-Lo. But it's that me, pick me attitude that they both have, that I think Hollywood in general, whether they admit it or not, whether they rub shoulders with these people or not, it's off-putting to them. It's like they don't want to reward it because they're like, you want it so badly and you don't want it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, they'll do that for Jamie Lee Curtis. You know what I mean? Because she'll put in the work. Yeah. Did she necessarily deserve that Oscar? I would argue not. But did she maybe deserve one like many years ago and then wasn't rewarded?
They just love J-Lo. So they just love Jamie Lee Curtis, though. Jamie Lee Curtis has also done Oscar caliber performances before that did not win awards. But and it's like whether or not right or wrong that she wins. Yeah,
right.
Same
Leo
with
a few years ago. Exactly. It's like, oh, it's their turn.
But they have similar. They have similar, like approaches in their careers where they feel like products. Both of them feel like products, whereas like they're not able to truly like disappear, because even with the Smashing Machine, for example, which I thought he was fine in, but it definitely was like, but how much of a stretch? He's still playing a wrestler. It's like, so it's like, you're really not doing that much different. It's like, maybe there's a different shade of emotionality in here, but for the most part, you're doing something that you already have been doing for so long. And so it's not that impressive anymore.
Not to mention the fact that I was really impressed with Smashing Machine at first, too, until I realized that Smashing Machine is a shot for, like Moana 2026 is a shot for shot karaoke remix of Moana 2016. The Smashing Machine is a shot for shot remake of a sports documentary on the same guy. And so Rock never stops doing karaoke. Sometimes it's karaoke of himself. Sometimes it's karaoke of other people. He's never acting, because acting implies bringing something yourself to the table. Yeah. He's just copying other people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's at a really interesting moment, though. He's at an interesting moment because Moana just flopped. But before we get to that, Alexandra Bohannon, what is your thoughts on The Rock?
Well, I mean, a lot of it echoes the table so far, but I think my point that I'd like to bring that's a little bit more fresh that we haven't talked about too much. Matt mentioned Cena earlier, and that's like the biggest analog to The Rock. Is they're of similar age ranges. They both came up around the same time. They've had prolific wrestling careers, but were at the top of the card, and then they transitioned to Hollywood really successfully. And I feel like Cena has. Granted, like he still does his like buddy cop, like he always. It feels like he's always in a movie where he's having to take care of a child or something. Well, The Rock was in like a couple of those too, like the Tooth Fairy, and, like, another one about children. Like there's like that kind of shtick of like I'm a big meaty man, I'm having to take care of a little kid, and like stuff.
Well, that's the Arnold Schwarzenegger playbook, though.
Yeah,
it's still the Arnold playbook.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They all have their Kazam.
Yeah. Everybody, it
Man,
is
I
kind
love
of
that
an
movie.
interesting playbook that I'm actually listening to Total Recall, Schwarzenegger's autobiography right now, and his evolution, of course, told by, he's selling himself as a brand in the book. So, of course, he's always going to paint himself in the most positive light possible. But hearing his journey of like, okay, how he broke out of like the niche at the time sport of bodybuilding and then, wrestling, the niche sport at the time. And now it's become, it used to be the thing that like all of your friends were like, oh, that loser kid thinks wrestling is real. Like, at like in
Man,
my
just
like
calling me out
elementary
here.
school.
Duh.
Hey, if you sell my ID. No, because I didn't watch wrestling as a kid, and that was always kind of like a little like, elbow like jab it's like X and all of that. So I think it's interesting to see it's like The Rock takes himself too seriously, but Cena doesn't take himself. It doesn't feel like he takes himself seriously at all, but also is still playing John Cena, the brand, the character.
John Cena seems like
I
he has
haven't
less of an ego too.
Yeah.
Like
For
like
sure.
he does the work. I mean, but he does the Make-A-Wish stuff. Like he's done a lot that like The Rock didn't do. That sort of like, and the ego does not seem as pronounced. Like
John
Just for
Cena
Dave
is
Bautista though,
just
because I
imagine-
feel like he's doing the best.
oh, Batista's definitely the MVP of the
Batista's the
wrestlers turned
MVP.
actors.
The MVP actor, absolutely. John Cena's edge on Rock, and even like Batista does this too, but John Cena takes the cake, is being willing to be the butt of the joke. Like,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
For the Oscars where he walked out buck naked for the award, like, and that was the whole thing was like, we're laughing. Look at this huge naked wrestling guy on stage.
Yeah.
Batista will still be the butt of a joke, but it's the joke that's like, haha, I'm kind of dumb, but also I will still kill you. Like the Drax the Destroyer kind of stuff. Yeah, but John Cena will absolutely degrade himself for the purposes of a bit, and I think that's what sets him apart from the other three.
It makes him relatable and accessible, and I think that's what it is The Rock. And I use the example with J-Lo again, but like the inaccessibility of these people and their unwillingness to strip the vanity. Like J-Lo won't get ugly to play a character.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if she's
Yeah.
going to be a maid, she's going to be the prettiest maid in Hollywood, like, oh, I'm dirty. Look at the little soot on my face, but she's not really going to snot cry and Viola Davis it up. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I feel like The Rock is very similar to that, where there's a certain approach that they both are so concerned about appearances and the image that they have projected for so long, and they don't want to tarnish that in any way, which would be the thing that would make them more relatable and would probably make them more vulnerable and make them, obviously perform better, so.
Yeah.
I think the vulnerability part's the thing that the word you mentioned there that I think really, because I feel like The Rock's impenetrable. Like he has, there's the mythology of The Rock that he talks about all the time. But like, I don't actually think that's the real, that's not the real story.
I went down to Hollywood with $7 in my pocket. That's what the name of my production company, $7 Productions. It's like, that's why, because I had nothing else. I had $7 in my pocket. Ignore the fact that my family is wrestling royalty, that I was guaranteed a job anywhere, much less in the WWE, because I'm the first third generation wrestler that's ever existed. But no, ignore that. No, I didn't have a prayer to my name. I just had $7 and a hard work ethic. Fuck off.
Man.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, that's not true, but it's also a super PR marketing version that like removes all of the details that would make you feel like a real person. It's like,
it's the wrestling equivalent of Steve Jobs created his first company in his family's garage,
Yeah. Well, if you can't tell, we are very
exactly.
This is the anything but talking about Moana because
we're an hour in and we've only talked about
it is more interesting than the actual film.
Yeah, I mean that's the best point. That is the more interesting thing. Yeah. You guys nailed it at the beginning of this podcast. The more interesting thing is talking about all these things around the movie than the movie itself, because I think we'll get into our review of Moana.
Are you ready to be the hero?
Let's go save the world.
I got your back.
here we are, ladies and gentlemen, talking about Moana. Because according to IMDb, Moana 2026 is described as, this might be perhaps the most accurate IMDb description I've read in a long time. Live action adaptation of the 2016 Disney animated film Moana. It's an accurate statement.
There's
Perfect
nothing
logline.
else to add in that
There you go.
sentence.
That's the movie. There are a few fun, notable facts that I think are that I will bring up in my actual review of this movie. First and foremost, this movie, Moana 2026, carries a production budget of $250 million. By the way, that's the same cost as the Odyssey. By the way, that's more expensive than the animated film, which was budgeted between 150 and 175 million. Yes, I know that was accounting for not that we're not accounting for inflation. Still, it's at least with inflation adjusted equivalent to the cost of the animated original. According to Dwayne, I'm calling him Dwayne right now, because again, as we just said, you can't really trust what he's saying. The story sounds right, but the details seem off. Disney approached him about the idea of doing it in 2019. It was Disney that came to him asking him if he wanted to do it. This film, Moana 2026, was penned once again by Jared Bush with new assistance from Dana Lido Miller. The film is the feature film debut of Thomas Kail, who previously directed the live Hamilton Broadway recording, the version that's on Disney+. Now, another interesting thing here, this film was scheduled to be released on June 27, 2025 originally. However, it was delayed by an entire year due to the release of Moana 2 in November 2024, and that movie made over $1 billion. Quick caveat on context. The reason I mention this is because originally, flash way back, Moana 2, originally it was a TV series being sent directly to Disney+. The Bobs had the big Bob off at the Disney, the Bob CEOs of Disney had a big Bob off, and then we got Bob Chapek got kicked to the curb and Bob Iger back in. And one of the first things Bob Iger did was Mandalorian, Grogu, and Moana 2. Let's get them in the theaters as soon as possible. So that's how they take what was going to be a streaming content made to a big picture and to Moana 2. And then they already had at the same time Moana live action in the pipeline and said, okay, cool, we're going to still do this, but we're just going to save it so that it's not so close to Moana 2 in the theatrical release. And of course, that movie made, as I said, a ton of money. So here we are, Moana 2026. What did we think of Moana 2026? And Alexandra Bohannon, I'll throw it to you first.
Well, so the shooting time frame was in 2024 with The Rock?
Yes.
And
yes.
Okay, so that's where
it
we're at.
a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must be, I mean, as an actor, imagine going on a press junket like 3 years later. Can you imagine? Just like, It's like, hey, remember that thing you did a few years ago? What do you think about it now? Oh, I love it. I had a great time. Okay. I'm procrastinating because I don't want to talk about I almost called it Moana 2 to your point. Moana 2026. We've talked about how these live action remakes are bereft of artistic merit and soulless and heartless and just a symptom of our increasing capitalist society and make me physically ill. I would say that I've just never been less interested by anything I've ever watched in my entire life. And I actually didn't know that could be possible. I've watched a ton of bad movies. Many of those were with Matt. And
we watched Tron Ares together, all three of us.
I know. We watched Tron Ares. We also watched the Dwayne Christmas pick, Red Thing, whatever that was.
Red One, not to be confused with Red Notice.
I almost called it Red Rising, which is that fantasy book series.
I'm sure The Rock's going to make Red Rising next year. Don't worry, it's coming. It's got red in the title.
Yeah, so there was that, and then there was also, we watched a ton of Neil Breen movies, and all of those at least had something to say, even if they were not necessarily articulate or good or I don't know, well thought out. There's so many things that you could watch that you would enjoy more than watching live action Moana. Probably paint dry, actually. I think that there is a case for watching paint dry more than watching live action Moana. In the year of our Lord 2026, I would say random other notes of relevance. The live action narrative, not live action, the animated set piece at the beginning of the film, I actually was jump scared when it cut to like these real human beings after all of that CGI, and we're calling this live action. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? Like, this is just it
Yeah.
is. I know, like, even the Lion King, that, I mean, we've talked about, again, that's a stretch to call it live action. It's just really cool, sexy CGI that might have some real trees in the background. I don't know, but it's just, I think I just watched this movie and I feel sad. I feel sad that, hey, we're in the post era of backrooms and obsession, so filmmakers, up and coming filmmakers, are getting their due, but there are not enough. We could have divvied up that 250 mil and given a new director, 10 new directors grants for $25 million. You know what an amazing
25
movie?
movies.
25 movies. We could have had so many opportunities for interesting art. And this was just incredibly unnecessary on every single front and level. I don't know what else to say about it. So somebody else say something about this.
Okay, I want to jump in then. I didn't realize a minute ago I was muted, and I've been muted for I'm not certain how long. So who knows how many salient and insightful points I've made that have just gone
Went
into the
by the
trash can.
wayside.
Who can
But
say?
hey, now go
How
for
is your
your
moment?
piece. Now's your
So
time.
I have to ask though, Alex, is this really worse than Tron Ares?
I would say yes. I was actually going to
Wow.
recommend, we're way ahead, but I was going to say watch Tron Ares more than watching this movie.
At least Tron Ares has a baller
Absolutely.
original soundtrack. This is not an original soundtrack. This is original soundtrack for a masterpiece that came out 10 years ago. It's
I
not
was
new
gonna say we
music.
did get an
IP.
awesome score, so that's
Well,
it.
Yeah.
but an awesome score for a movie 10 years ago. Like,
Well, no,
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
talking about Tron
Oh,
Ares.
he's
Tron Ares. Oh,
Ares.
Tron Ares. Yes,
Yeah.
Tron Ares got an
Not-
amazing score. Yeah, no doubt. I listened
Yeah,
to it.
Fine.
I would hard recommend Ares, even though it's shot terribly and like those graphics are terrible. And then there was that weird part because it's also extremely long. Tron Ares is, and you get like a third of the way
And
in.
boring.
None of us knew
It's
what was
very
happening
boring.
anymore, and we were also bored. So it's just
boring.
But
and-
yeah, I would watch it again
Half of the
over
people
watching
who were
this.
watching Tron Ares with us fell asleep in the middle of the movie.
It's true.
That movie
That's a real thing.
genuinely feels like it was written by AI, and you could not convince me otherwise. I know they have credited writers. I'm sorry to you, but
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not-
I agree.
I'm not convinced. I echo Alex's sentiments. I don't want to shit on certain cast members. I think the young actress that plays Moana does a perfectly fine job. I hope she has a long and illustrious career.
She's very talented. She was very talented.
But
yes.
honestly, like, despite her, it's just the mere concept of this movie is just, it's insulting, honestly, because you go there and you're like, this is literally the same movie. No, I just don't understand, like, why you've asked me to pay another $25 to watch this movie because I watched it in premium. But like, why are we doing this if, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to present me anything new. So I actually use that 2 hours of time, again, like I said, like making lists for my day and thinking about what I was going to do when I was out of that movie. And I think I got a lot of things done in that time frame because I didn't look up from my phone that often. And I didn't need to because I could hear the movie in the background, and I know the other movie by heart because I have nieces and nephews. So I didn't feel like I missed a thing, and that's unfortunate. I looked up occasionally. Oh, The Rock, there he is. Oh, that's a bad wig. What the hell are we doing there? Like things like,
hard front
So
wigs.
bad.
Terrible.
Horrible.
Another differing point between Dwayne Johnson and John Cena. John Cena always has a wig, no matter what movie he's in, and his wigs are always immaculate.
Mhm.
You can't
Yes.
convince me that he doesn't have his own team of wig
Yes.
I would believe that
handlers.
too.
He's
Yeah.
probably friends with drag queens, and I can tell you right now, Dwayne is not, because they lied to him. They definitely put him. He didn't have the
Mhm.
lace front
Mhm.
right. It's not naturalistic. It looks very
Very like it got very Fabio energy, you know.
exactly like It almost looks intentionally bad. Like, oh, is this an SNL skit? Because then it's hilarious.
It
Oh,
looks
this
like
is
the
the-
porn
Right.
parody version of Moana.
Exactly. This is the movie. Like, you guys settled on that wig. Like, a decision was made by creative department head that said that is the one. Okay, that's where we are, and that's
And
how I felt
at
about.
least 10, and because this is Disney, at least 10 other people looked at it and said, "Oh, they said it's good. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's good."
Cool.
Matt Lane, Moana
Hi.
historian.
I have
we
so
are
many things I would like to get into with this, and I know I'm not going to have time to get all of this. I have a central thesis I'd like to build upon, but before I do
Please.
that, one of the friends that I saw this movie with was adamant that I bring this up, so I have to do it before we get into anything else. Tamatoa, the big crab that Moana fights. Yeah, Alex knows exactly what I'm going with this here. So there is a giant crab, and he exists in the first movie too, and he even has a cameo in the second movie. But in this movie, for some reason, he has teeth that are baleen. I don't know if anyone else here is a marine biology nerd. Baleen is what blue whales and other filter feeders use to eat plankton. Like they don't chew with these at all. This is absolutely just a filter that grabs like krill and other like very, 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 very small prey to just kind of filter and suck down and eat. And that this crabs don't have that. Whales have that. Crabs don't have that. And yet Tamatoa for some reason has teeth, it's baleen, but it's shaped like teeth, and it's not only is it disgusting, it also doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. Even if you're going for stylized, oh, he's a crab, he's not gonna have crab biology. Okay, but why does he have whale biology? That's fucking ridiculous. And
Just wanted to give him that gold tooth in the gap.
He also had a grill.
The thought process.
He also had a grill, but like you could do that, like if you gave him like actual teeth instead of filter feeding. We see him eating fish. We know he's not a filter feeder. Anyway, sorry, that's not relevant to my overall point. It's just I had a friend who demanded that I talk about that on the podcast.
Well, you know what? I just learned this, and I'm actually disgusted that they didn't do their homework on the biology of that. And
well,
I feel like
seriously, man.
But thing, if you'd never done your homework on undersea biology, you wouldn't know baleen is even a thing. They knew enough to know that baleen is a thing, but they put it in a fucking crab.
Yeah.
So, okay, sorry. Yeah, no, that did
Disney,
make me
you
very
have scientists who work on this. You pay them lots of money. Do your jobs.
But what I really want to talk about today, and this is building my central point, not that specifically, but what I'm about to go into here. Have you ever heard, I'm sure you've all heard the story about the homemaker who like cuts the top of her turkey off before she cooks a roast, and her daughter asks her, say, "Hey, why do you cut the top of your turkey off?" It's like, well, I don't really know why, but my mom always did that, and it made the most delicious turkey I've ever had. And so she kind of got curious, and she called her mom, and she said, "Hey, Mom, why did you always cut the top of your turkey off when you were making a roast?" And she said, "Well, I don't really know why I did that either. I just know that my mom always did that, and it was always the most delicious turkey I ever had." And so she calls her mom in a nursing home and says, "Mom, why did you always cut the top of your turkey off?" And she said, "Because I never had a big enough pan."
That tracks.
The point I'm making is ritual without understanding. Sometimes we get caught up in these habits that we don't even really know why we're doing it. We just know that this is how it's done, without realizing that, scenarios have changed. That might not be the great way of doing things, or maybe it was never a good way of doing things, or why you do it to begin with. This movie is all about following the shot-for-shot ritual without understanding why those scenes were important in the first place.
Exactly.
Yes.
I have, for instance, in the scene where Moana's dad, I don't think he has a name, I think it's just Moana's dad, takes her to the top of the mountain and says, someday when you become ruler here, you are going to, this is the big pile of stones we got here, this is the highest point of the mountain. Someday when you take charge here, you are going to place your stone at the top of the mountain, and you are going to literally elevate the height of this mountain. You are going to bring this entire place a little bit taller just by virtue of being here. And in the live action movie, you can see behind her, and there are peaks above that. It is actually filmed in a depression. It is the lowest spot of the scene. There are peaks all around her. She literally will not bring the island up behind her.
That's great.
Now,
amazing.
And later on with Tamatoa,
empty platitudes.
Empty platitudes, exactly. Like, well, it's not even that platitudes. It's like, I don't even think they realize what's going on here. Like with part of the reason, like obviously a lot of it's vanity too, but Tamatoa, when he collects his shiny shit, it's also, as he explains in the song, it's like, fish are dumb. They chase anything that glitters. Beginners. Oh, and here they come. And like he chases, like he makes himself glittery, not just for vanity, but so fish are attracted to him so he doesn't have to work hard to eat. The fish come to him because he's shiny. In this movie, he still sings those lyrics, but he just pushes a button and a fish cannon is just shot at his face.
Yeah.
It's like there are no fish attracted to him that he takes advantage of. He just has a fish cannon somehow. And and like in the original movie, he is the shiny thing. He is the shiny thing that everyone else is being attracted to. In this, he has a throne room that's shiny, and there is also fireworks going off. He's actually kind of a muted part of the scene.
Yeah.
While everything else around him is shiny. It's like, I don't think anyone who worked on the first movie worked on this one. They're just copying copying scene for scene without understanding why the scenes worked or what they meant.
Yeah.
I think you nailed. I think you really nailed it though. It's what you're trying to literally recreate something without understanding why it worked in the first place. So you're slavish to like certain aesthetic choices,
some idea of accuracy, but you're not understanding why exactly. Like that, like you're not articulating why these moments are impactful to begin with. Yeah.
Well, and you know, this is with the animated people. You said none of the animated people worked on this film. Like, I think I would add to that is like, it's not as if this is Pinocchio and all the people who animated are dead. Like
10 years ago.
10 years ago, these people, half of them probably still work at Disney.
Anyway, I don't know.
Was anybody else just like confused when the announcement of this even came out? Because not that the other live action movies haven't been a thing or a trend thus far up to this point. There's obviously been several of them, but I mean, when someone was like, "Oh no, there's going to be a Moana 2," and then there's like, "Oh no, there's going to be a live action one with The Rock in it," I was like, there's already an animated one with The Rock. I think you're confused. I don't think that's not a thing. And I looked it up. I was like, there's literally a live action Moana coming out that's on track to come out as a Moana 2 is coming out. And Moana's not even old yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was so confusing. We just reviewed Backrooms, but it does feel like a copy of a copy of a copy. It's like a distorted, like you mentioned, like the animated character of Maui is heavily influenced by the characteristics of The Rock, you know, which is why he was cast to do that character, you know, and obviously the cultural background and what have you. There's a connection there. But now he's playing the live action version of it, as we mentioned, in a lesser version somehow. It was like a reiteration of a reiteration of a reiteration. The Rock played the character based on his own characteristics. Now he's playing, you know, a live action version of that same thing in a lesser version somehow. And like, what's next now? Do we just go back and now reanimate the versions of the live action? I'm so confused. Like, it feels like an endless loop of like, they're going to eventually run out of these animated movies to recreate. What do you do then?
Do them again.
What's the next cash grab version of that?
Do them again.
You know?
And it is weird to think that besides just money being the answer, picking Moana, like looking at that box office list of the collected all the remakes, it's like either it was a movie from that original golden era of Disney's Snow White, Cinderella, like the classics, or it was the Disney Renaissance in the 90s. And then Lilo and Stitch, that kind of extended that. So I'm not surprised by picking Lilo and Stitch and Mulan, right? Those kind of towards the end of like the official Disney Renaissance, like 2001 or whatever. But I am really surprised that like Moana was only 10 years ago, and besides like money being the motivating factor, I would rather see a live action remake of Ratatouille. Why is that not in the discourse? Like 2008?
They haven't messed with Pixar. I mean, I'm praying they don't touch it, but they haven't messed with Pixar yet.
Yeah.
Give it time. Give it time.
That's fair. Yeah, so it's just like there are ones that I'm like, why did we not get Princess and the Frog if we're like looking for women of color princess stories?
Too woke.
It's just a weird. That's
just
a really strange choice.
The only live action movie I want to see, based on an animated series, is Beavis and Butthead, and that is with Ryan Gosling and Mikey Day, as they did on the SNL skit. After they did that little bit, I was like, I need a full feature film of these two playing these characters.
Okay,
that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Like, I don't want to see these movies because that's an example where it's like you could do something creative with that, creative casting choices. You could, like it's an irreverent kind of property, that sort of thing. I don't need to see something that is already so indelible, so much part of the cultural zeitgeist that we already know it. We've seen it. I just think, and like I said, we haven't missed Moana. Moana is like fresh. It's like a fresh, modern.
I can't escape it. Are you kidding me? Do you have nieces and nephews or children? You can't escape Moana.
Yeah, so it's weird.
Matt, tell us how you can't escape it.
It's like, we just did this. It was like, why are we going back here? There's so many other you haven't done yet. So anyway.
As Alex hinted at, I cannot escape it. I think Moana is probably the movie I've seen most in my life, more than any other movie. Wow. Moana is my foster daughter's second favorite movie of all time. Her first favorite movie is Moana 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no.
Oh, man.
I'm a little sad because the soundtrack on Moana 1 is definitely slaps a lot more than Moana 2, but Moana 2 is not offensive.
Moana 2's got it. Moana 2 is fine. I will say it. Moana 2 is fine. It gets I would say like it probably has a knee-jerk reaction towards negativity by most people. I would say it's a serviceable movie. Like, it's worth seeing once. I've seen it more than once, but I would recommend seeing it once at the very least. But yeah, no. So that's why when you introduced me as Moana historian, I take that title very seriously because I could probably just read the entire script off to you myself. But we're already like an hour and 15 minutes into this, and we haven't still properly talked about things, and I don't think we're going to at this point yet.
No, it's more of a vibe, but we can talk about some of the we can't talk about some of the details. I just want to chime in and say I agree with the table. I think this movie is awful. Here's the thing, Moana. You guys have already said it so much, so let me just sum it up. There's not even an intention of doing something different, not even an intention, and that is why, Matt, I think, just to kind of like synthesize a couple different points, we're remaking a movie that's 10 years old, which, by the way, when they remade it was only 8 years old. Right. And Matt, to your point, it shows that the filmmakers making this live action clearly did not have a full understanding or appreciation for why the first movie worked, which is bizarre given the number of people who worked on both films. Like, truthfully bizarre. So the adaptive choices they make don't even actually adapt the idea of the original, even if you were trying to copy the feeling of the original. So what you get is this like almost like Moana on ice or Moana on off Broadway version of the story.
When you told me Moana on ice, when you told me that review, I hadn't seen the movie yet, and I thought that was a very clever, very devastating burn. Now that I've seen the movie, I feel like that is the most charitable read possible.
Most charitable.
It's like,
like,
it's Caleb being Caleb and being very charitable to the movies he's watching.
I mean, I'm not that charitable. I think this movie's awful and no one should see it. I think you should go watch the original 2016 movie. The 2016 movie is a masterpiece. I genuinely think it's one of the best things Disney's made in the last 20 years, like hands down. And the thing is, I know it's 10 years old, but the animation is still pretty outstanding. The Lin-Manuel Miranda score still slaps.
Oh my God. I have so many things to bring up here. First of all, I want to say that when I was on a podcast with you 10 years ago, I called my fucking shot like Babe Ruth and it came true. 2016, I was talking about, Lin-Manuel Miranda is sort of everywhere now. I can't say I hate it, but I feel like a few years from now, we're all going to be like, man, he was a flash in the pan and I can't fucking stand this guy. And you know what? I stand here in 2026 fucking vindicated, because every time I hear the fucking Lin-Manuel Miranda is attached to any project, I'm just like, ugh.
I agree to disagree. I still like him.
And I will say one of the positive things I will say about, and I could probably count on one hand the positive things I can say about 2026 Moana, but I have a few. And one thing I will say is that during the We Know the Way song that initially had Lin-Manuel Miranda's vocals, they cut it from this and they have an actual Polynesian singer now. And that was always really discordant to me in the original movie. You would just be hearing these really, really powerful Polynesian vocals. And then all of a sudden you hear Lin-Manuel Miranda's whiny Puerto Rican vocals. We're in the wind in the sky. And I was like, fuck off. I'm so glad they cut his ass, because it's a whole, I understand that if you're middle America, you don't know the difference between Polynesian and Puerto Rican, but it's the different fucking ocean.
Yeah.
I will not comment because I don't want to have the great man Lin-Manuel Miranda throwdown of the century on this podcast. I still really like his work quite a bit, but I do understand he has a shtick that he does.
I would say,
and I will say specifically a shtick he does with Disney. I actually like most of his non-Disney projects considerably more than I like his Disney projects.
For sure.
So I will say that I can appreciate that his approach to Disney projects has been diminishing returns, though I do still stand on Moana 1 having a great soundtrack. However, I do think if you look at stuff like Tick, Tick, Boom, a movie he did a few years ago, his directorial debut, I actually think it's an outstanding work from him. And he's also got another film in the pipeline that sounds really interesting.
The plot.
So that said, yes, we did talk about Moana 1 10 years ago. We love that film, and everything about Moana 2026 is an inferior version of what we got. For Matt reasons, you listed Matt, but a thing that I think Laron or Alex, one of you mentioned, was The Rock is in this movie. This is a objectively worse performance. He feels like so tired and bored by this entire exercise, whereas when he's doing the voice work, I can feel the enthusiasm. Even in Moana 2, I feel the enthusiasm, the laughter, the joy. Watching him in this movie, he's just so tired and bored. His face
feels phoned in.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I have a theory, and we talked about this when we were watching the film. So in the Nipplegate discussion, about The Rock, in some of trailers, people were not perceiving Maui to have nipples. And then The Rock actually released statements and did press junkets to talk about Maui's nipples and deflate Nipplegate. I will send the article to everyone so everyone can read.
We'll put it in the show notes.
The Rock's response to Nipplegate. So basically, from what I read in that article, he is wearing one of those latex suits that a lot of
he does have a costume
are wearing. So hyper realistic flesh with the tattoos. I mean, obviously he has his own tattoos that needed to cover them, but at the same time, there's a part of me that is like, okay, there is a going back to everyone's discussions, like the J-Lo vanity play stuff of we've made him have maybe a better body than The Rock in his 50s does, because now he looks more like maybe what he did in the Attitude Era with his vascularity and his size and the abs. I know I had a logistical concern with the tattoos, whatever. But the choice of also not letting him be an overweight person, or just casting a Maori that was of the size of the 2016 version, it is kind of hard to reconcile. But I think in our discussion, it's like, not to say that this gives him a pass, but a lot of the film seems to be shot around The Rock being limited and hamstrung by the fact he's in this latex
Yes.
Yeah.
rubber suit, like
And he's like
muscle suit.
50. He's like in his 50s.
Yeah,
Like, so how
yeah.
versatile can he really be? Yeah.
Right. So a lot of this expressiveness and the movement, and Matt can even point to a scene that was probably changed. I don't remember that sequence from the original, but the mountain stuff, I'll let Matt explain that. But like, it's just, to me, it's just an indicator of it's just a stiff performance. There's no joyfulness to it. Like, even I don't believe whenever he says "you're welcome." Like, I
No.
did
Yeah.
whenever
Feels
he was
phoned
singing
in.
it 10
Yeah.
years ago, but I don't believe it here. And there's just something about it that, like, there's no spark. I don't really feel a spark with pretty much any of the characters, even Moana herself. Like, I'm not seeing that. And maybe it's just a testament to how good the 2016 version is that we don't. But also, it could also be the directing may not be elevating those actors' performances to be able to get to those heights and those levels and depths.
Also
And
might be
maybe
that The
everyone
Rock is harder to work with in person than he is as a voice actor.
Absolutely.
In relation to that, you're talking about how maybe he's easier to work with vocally versus in live action. There's also another key component to this, is whether or not his production studio is involved or not. In the first Moana movie, it was not $7 Productions. Moana 2, it was. And this one is $7 Productions, plus the fact that this is his vanity project from start to finish. And you can always tell if a Dwayne Johnson movie was produced by Dwayne Johnson with one simple question. Do the other characters on screen laugh at his jokes? If the other characters on screen stonewall him, it is not a $7 production. If the other characters on screen laugh at him, then it is a $7 production.
It's very Trumpian.
That is a fucking litmus test that you can take to any Rock movie. I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never
Now,
unknow that now. It's like,
and not
That's
only
real.
that, but more often than not, you can even see those moments in the trailers for $7 Productions. Like I saw that in Moana 2. I spotted that from the fucking trailer of Moana 2. It's like, oh, that character's laughing at his dumb fucking jokes. This is a $7 Productions. Moana 2016, there is a scene when they're going to the realm of monsters and they're climbing up a mountain, because this is obviously the realm of monsters is a tough place to get to. It's a very physically demanding thing to do. You have to climb up a fucking mountain to get to the entrance where you drop down. And you have to do like this very arcane haka to like open up the gates to do that. In this movie, because of the rubber bodysuit, there is no mountain climbing to do. It's just a very leisurely stroll through just an island they come across, because, climbing's hard. And also, hakas are hard. So instead of doing the really intense haka that Maui does, he just kind of goes, he does the Macarena, and that opens up the gate for him. And later, and also, as you wrestling fans might know, The Rock is famous for the people's eyebrow. I can't do it very well. You're just gonna have to trust me that it's like a huge deal. And this is
Laron serves that eyebrow.
And not only does he do it in every movie, even his animated characters do it. When Maui first says, thank you, you're welcome, and before he jumps into the You're Welcome song in 2016, he even has them do the fucking people's eyebrow on his character. He never once does that here. That doesn't sound like a big deal unless you know that is what built his fucking career. Like I said, he's never not playing The Rock, and The Rock does the people's eyebrow. You also might notice he has no fucking forehead wrinkles. He has had so much Botox done that he can't fucking do the people's eyebrow anymore, much less act. And that is another thing. Yes, he doesn't have the physicality because he's in a rubber bodysuit and he's an old man. At one scene, he even takes a knee on camera and you can practically hear him going, "Ugh," as he kneels down. But not only does he not have the physicality anymore, he can't even move his face to fucking act. And you all saw it. That wasn't just acting. It's the lack of acting, because we know he can act in other things he's done previously. It's that his fucking face doesn't work anymore.
I think you're onto something. I hadn't noticed that until you called it out, but I was like, you're right. He doesn't do the eyebrow thing, and that is a thing he does in pretty much every wrestling, every movie.
Yep.
Like the gifs of him online is doing the eyebrow thing. So it was a bizarre. It was bizarre that in this he was not doing it.
Eyebrowless.
I also think it kind of leads me to another like major criticism I have of just his portrayal of Maui. There's just certain things. I'm not even going to go through this whole soapbox because we're running on time. But listen, there is just simply certain things that are superior in animation because of animation, because you can be more creative, you can be more flexible, you can be more artistic. They're just simply
just
things that
different
are
medium.
better. It's a different medium, and there are certain strengths that you cannot replicate on in live action. And among many of the failings of this movie is even when they do try to like mimic the movie, the tattoos do not work in live action. They do not work. They are so charming, and I love them. It's such a great character thing about Maui and his little buddy he's got up there, in you know the animated movies. It really took me out of the movie
distracting.
every
It's
time.
distracting
Yeah,
here.
it's very distracting, and I just it's a big fail.
Calling out also that his tattoos look like the
Dog shit.
physicality that we know he should have in
Yes.
2016. It's not
That
him
too.
on roids, like in his rubber mode, like with
Yeah.
the abs and stuff. It looks like a traditional Polynesian body type, like what the dad has.
Yeah, the Moana's dad actor should have played Maui.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah, for real.
And like, also, speaking of the tattoos, it's like this movie kind of introduces the idea that Maui's tattoo guy can jump off of his body and interact with other stuff outside of him. And I thought, oh, that's an interesting thing. I wonder where they go with that. They don't go anywhere with it. It never comes up again.
Yeah.
So, listeners, as you can tell, we are big fans of Moana 2026. And, you know, I had a whole story I was going to tell about raging against AMC and their fan event that I went to.
Can you
Oh,
tell
I
it
want
in
to hear
5
it.
minutes?
Please tell about this.
Can you please
you
tell
guys-
it, Caleb, please?
Oh, okay. So
We're begging. We're begging.
So I there was a press invite I got to, and I opted not to go just because there was some time conflict. So I was like, all right, we'll go to the earliest showing I can possibly see. So we go to the IMAX showing for it. And coincidentally, the first IMAX showing is it's called the Moana 2026 Fan Experience. And I'm like, oh, I know what this means. This means I'm going to get there. They're probably going to give you a poster and some doodads, and you'll get there. And then, like, as part of the pre-roll, probably right before the movie, you'll get The Rock talking to the director, The Rock talking to Moana, sitting in their chairs, being like, we had so much fun making Moana. Thanks for coming to the movie to see it. You're so lucky you're among the very first fans in the world to see Moana. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting. And I don't even care about this stuff, by the way. It's just more of an expectation setting thing. You know, so we sit through all the trailers, nothing happens. And then once it gets to the point where the movie is supposed to start playing, there's literally just a title card that says, it's the kind of title card I'd usually see on the screen at the press events, where it's like Moana, like the poster, and then like comment about the movie on social media or whatever, opening in theaters this date. And then it just went into the movie. And I was like, there was no fan experience. And then I looked around, I looked to my left. There was no children in the audience. I looked to my right. There was no children in the audience. And then I realized I'm in a fan experience where all it is a bunch of like 30 to 50-year-olds all watching Moana 2026. And then, yes, we did get one thing. We got a keychain that glows in the dark. That was the fan experience. And AMC or Disney, or I don't know who to be angry at, if you're going to advertise the fan experience, at least make me feel worthy of being a fan.
Caleb, because you want to be made to feel better, I feel like this is for you. I'll do this as my
God,
is my fan experience for you, my razzle dazzle.
Yeah,
for you.
Beautiful.
that would have been a
Beautiful.
better gimme than your
LaRon,
keychain, Caleb.
Forget Dwayne The Rock Johnson. This is all I needed.
This is what it's all about.
This is all the glow, the light that brightens up my day. You have brightened up my day. That is our review of Moana 2026. I guess if we could close out, what letter grade recommendation would we give for this movie, and what should people watch instead of Moana? So give it the letter grade, give it the recommendation all in one go. And LaRon Chapman, I'll start with you.
I'm gonna give it a big fat D for don't ever do this again. And what recommendation? Literally anything else. Literally anything else right now. There's whatever else is in theater is probably better than this. I can probably almost guarantee that.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Literally anything else.
Anything else in theaters. Just look at your local listings and look at Moana, skip over Moana, and pick the movie beside it. I promise you'll have a better time.
I think that is an appropriate recommendation. Alexandra Bohannon, what letter grade would you give the film, and what would you recommend to the people?
I give this an F, dog. Like, what is this? What is the purpose of this movie? I'm still stuck on its money laundering. Like, that's it. Paycheck for rock. Everyone makes money. It employed some people. I'm excited about that, but dang. Stuff you could watch instead of this. I started thinking about adaptations of kind of. I mean, Moana is not necessarily. I'm not in the culture that would know if the stories, if this has a ton of cultural lineage, that's like very common. But if you're thinking about adapting like fairy tales or common like Western narratives, one thing I started thinking of that I would watch right now more so than Moana, I mean more so than most things actually, is Jim Henson's The Storyteller. It's a series from like the I can't remember if it's the 80s or 90s, has John Hurt as kind of this central storyteller figure. Obviously it's Jen Henson, so there's beautiful puppets throughout all of this. All of it's done practically. I mean, there might be some little CGI enhancement like the early days. But it's the stories are kind of dark, and they're kind of in that Grimm Brothers where it's like dark authentic renditions of some of these stories you might be familiar with in folklore. And I was just thinking, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be marvelous if we could kind of return at like a Hollywood blockbuster budget scale to filmmaking that kind of evokes these things of like the tactile nature of it, the art that feels I mean, well, I can't call Moana 2026 art, but because that's just content. That we have artistry given into filmmaking that is elevated, and people's whole heart, body, craft was put into a work of fiction, and then that's shared with people that love it. So that would be my recommendation. I mean, just watch something you like. I mean, that would be my other recommendation, is go home and watch your favorite movie and just like enjoy that you got to watch that instead of Moana also.
Storyteller, though, that's an inspired choice. Almost no one knows
Thank you.
about that one. It's an amazing series. Gosh, it's streaming somewhere. It feels like it might be on Disney because it's
It
owned by
might
Jim
be
Henson.
on Disney because of just the Henson rights. So
Yeah,
that's a
highly
good, yeah,
recommend.
look into that one for sure.
Great one. Matt Lane, what would you recommend? Well, what letter grade would you give the film, and what would you recommend?
Man, I'm sad that I didn't get to talk about my actual favorite part of the movie, and this is like my biggest positive of the change. I'll go into this very, very shortly. My favorite part of Moana 2026, and this is a huge improvement that it made over 2016, is it made the grandma a sociopath. I mean that unironically. In the first movie, she is just a witness to him. She's a village crazy lady, but she's more than that. She's a witness to a miracle. In 2026, the grandma is a groomer of unsuccessful saviors, like especially driven home by, like in the original movie, when the dad is confronted with the boats, he just kind of does incoherent, traumatized rage and just tries to burn the boats down. Meanwhile, in this movie, he very calmly turns to Moana and says, "Do you think you're the first person she took to those boats?" I fucking love the fact that not only did she try to groom her son into the role that she's grooming Moana in now, it's very possible the ocean even came to him the same way he came to Moana. But when his best friend died, because his best friend wasn't chosen by the ocean the way Moana was, he fucking pussed out and he just stayed on the island and had a family. And Moana is the grandma's last chance. I think that gives it so much more tension than it had in the first movie. I think that is unironically an amazing choice. Now, granted, that's about the only positive change that I think the movie made. Everything else is dog shit. But let's get back to the fucking letter grade here. I I think you shouldn't fucking watch this movie. If you have a personal connection to it like I do, yeah, go see it. It's worth a shot. But if you don't, it's absolute dog shit. Don't fucking go see this. If you want some alternative reactions, go watch some fucking pro wrestling. How about that? How about watch Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, NXT TakeOver? It is all about the beloved babyface of the company coming up with the new, but who is on his way out of the company, meeting head to head with a guy he's never faced before, but is by all accounts going to be the new head of the company. And it's a really beautiful moment of time passing that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson refuses to let happen. I feel like it's a good contrast to whatever shit you're going to watch here.
Ladies and gentlemen, professional wrestling. It's great it's great programming. I'm also going to give this the F for failure.
A rare F from Caleb. All right.
I don't give F's very often, but it's like this is an offensive movie. This is an offensively bad movie. Again, we ran out of time. You kept mentioning the money laundering, Alexandra. Alex, I think you're totally right about that. Patrick Willems over on YouTube, another great video essayist that I really like a lot. He did a whole video essay on this whole the Red Notice Red Notice of it, which is basically how all of $7 Productions, along with a lot of things produced by Ryan Reynolds companies, are just giant money laundering schemes. Because it's like this movie cost $250 million. Where is it? Where, if you watch the movie, I'm not
seeing it on screen. It looks like ass. It looks like ass.
No, it looks awful. So anyway, big fat F. Do not support. Maybe it's not technically money laundering, but it feels like money laundering. Just go watch Moana 1. It's an amazing movie. If you like Moana 1, watch Moana 2. If you want to go get lost in Hawaii, go watch Lost. Go watch Jurassic Park, Lost World, even anything made in Hawaii that's not Moana 2026.
Yeah.
Running from dinosaurs in Hawaii is still better than watching whatever the hell this is. Also, how much this was actually made in Hawaii? Not very much of it, I'm gonna guess. It's very bad.
I think it was made in front of the green screen.
And the good news is, I'll end on this note. Some good news after this 1 hour and 40-minute review conversation. I got some great news, guys. Moana, this is from Variety.com. Moana failed to make a splash at the box office, earning $43 million from over 3,800 North American theaters in opening weekend. And not only that, it also floundered overseas with $52 million for a global launch of $95 million. Now, I know what you're saying. You're like, $95 million is a lot of money, but I just want to put this in the context. This movie cost $250 million to make and probably had a marketing budget of around $100 million. And then the studios have to split the proceeds they make from this movie with the theaters. So this movie is losing money. And the good news is maybe, just maybe, $7 Productions will stop getting this much money to make really, really terrible, awful movies. And number two, maybe Disney will be like, man, maybe we should do less of these live action things.
Well, to your first point, though, $7 Productions is The Rock's company, and you're gonna be sorely disappointed when you see The Rock come out next year at WrestleMania in Saudi, and the fucking payday he gets from headlining that. I tell you what, is gonna fund so many other $7 Productions movies. I'm fucking warning you.
Have they confirmed he's headlining? Have they confirmed he's headlining?
No,
but it's gonna happen. It's gonna
happen. Yeah, no, it's gonna happen.
That's another podcast. Context listeners, WrestleMania next year taking place in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is known to pay outrageous amounts of funds to see wrestlers who are 30 years past their prime wrestle in the ring. Anyway, different podcast. Just know The Rock's probably about to get a really, really, really huge payday for not doing very much.
Yeah.
And he always goes back to wrestling whenever one of his big movies flops. So we're fucking due.
Absolutely. It's a little pop to his heart. That's because he came out of Black Adam back in to do Final Boss.
It's like going to Mar-a-Lago for a recharge. You know,
let me reset.
They hate me over here. Let me go shoot some.
Absolutely, it's a very fair comparison. And all you non-wrestling fans are not really truly understanding just how much Rock dove headfirst back into wrestling the minute Black Adam failed.
Yeah,
like he showed up.
He tried to hijack WrestleMania 40. It was. crazy.
It was a huge deal. It's like you said, it's another episode.
Another
but-
podcast.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, guys, this has been so much fun. I've loved hanging out with my friends. I've loved doing this little drunk after dark in Hawaii. I love to light up lays. I love hanging out with Matt and Alex and Laron. This has been so much fun.
Hell yeah.
Folks, where can the people find you on the internet if they want to keep up with whatever you're producing? And Matt Lane, Moana historian, I'll start with you. Are you even on social media anymore?
No,
what are you doing?
No, I don't have social media. I got brought onto here due to a Make-A-Wish Foundation type scenario. But I do have a book coming out later in the year. I am a sci-fi and fantasy writer, and I not under my actual name, Matt Lane, because no one wants to buy a book by Matt Lane. My pen name's Kirby Baird. I thought about having Caleb introduce me as Kirby Baird, but we've known each other for a decade. That would have been very difficult to have you call me Kirby this entire
weird.
time.
It's like, Kirby, what do you think about? Yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
No, but anyway, you can go check out details of that later at kirbybaird.com. That's BAIRD. But yeah, no, other than that, I'm not on social media. I am immune to that poison. But you can catch up with me that way. Y'all have a nice day.
Matt, Kirby, I'm so glad you're here. 10 years later. Did you think 10 years ago when we reviewed Moana 1 that we would be sitting here 10 years later reviewing live action?
No,
Moana?
I felt like I left too bad a podcasting first impression. I knew you wouldn't have me back on again.
Oh, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. That was a fun podcast. Are you kidding me? It's more of the gears of capitalism. Even in 2016, even I wasn't that cynical. I guess I should have been, but here we are.
Oh my gosh, we were all such baby faced little guys back then.
Yeah,
true.
no.
Like, wow.
When we were here 10 years ago, I had, on the day we were scheduled to record, I had gone through some personal tragedy, and I was double fisting a glass of scotch in one hand and a glass of white wine in the other, and it was just double swigging. It was good times, and by good times I mean I'm glad I'm still alive.
I'm glad you're still here
Yeah.
too. Very much so.
Yeah.
Matt, Kirby, congratulations on the book. We will talk about that at a future time. Thanks so much for joining. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you today.
Hot diggity.
Alexandra Bohannon, where can people follow you and all the things you're doing online?
Well, you can follow me at by Alex Bohannon. That's on Instagram. I finally threw up the most baby looking website. You can also go to byalexbohannon.com. That's it's just basically a portfolio of a lot of cool film writing I do for both my main publication, Luxury, but then this past year I've started writing a little bit for Movie Maker magazine as well. I had the privilege and honor, the most recent Movie Maker magazine piece that I've done. I had the privilege and honor of talking to the director of She's the He, the most amazing trans high school comedy that you will ever see. So definitely check that out.
Awesome.
Hopefully when it's on a limited theatrical run, everybody on that crew is queer or trans, so it's definitely it is the antithesis of Moana 2026 of like these are the people we should be supporting to make movies. So that's another one piece for Movie Maker I just did, and then another for Luxury. I had the privilege of talking to Lou Diamond Phillips. He was one of the honorees at Dead Center Film Festival this past year. And so I was able to talk to him about his latest film, Gangland, that had a Oklahoma premiere at Dead Center and won Best Okie Feature, which that film is really good. Really good. And it's made by Okies, and it was made for under $1 million. And again, the types of people we should be paying to make our movies, the types of stories I want to see. So that's me. Keep track of me there. Would love to follow you and engage more on anything but Moana 2 or Moana 2026, whatever this movie is called.
And I really liked your interview with Lindy West too in Luxury.
Thank you. Yeah. She was another really fun chat as well. She had a great play that came to Oklahoma City, so we're able to do some really great stuff with Lindy.
Alexandra Bohannon's been tearing it up at Luxury lately. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Fun. Seriously. Yay. Well, you mentioned two of my favorite films from Dead Center. Now, granted, I wasn't in attendance and only saw some of the things, but Keep Quiet and She's the He, two of my favorite narrative features at the festival. So great call-outs. Very jealous of the interviews. That's very cool. Laron Chapman, who, full disclosure, did in fact work on Keep Quiet, but I don't think that's why Alex said that, but did work on the film.
Yes, he has a great piece in the article and photos of him in that article as well. So you should definitely check that out.
Yes.
Laron Chapman, when you aren't making Keep Quiet, where can people find you doing things online?
They can find me on the internet ranting about Moana on Letterboxd at black underscore Cinna underscore man as my handle. I also have a review column on the Cinematropolis.com, Real Insights with Laron Chapman. I also write for the Oklahoma Gazette once a month. I write a film review for them.
Nice.
And then obviously more podcasts coming your way at least bi-monthly, here at cinematropolis.com.
Check it all out. All the cool friends doing all the cool things. Really proud of all of us for doing the cool creative stuff. You can follow me over at thecinematropolis.com, doing more mostly podcast. You can find me on socials at C Masters Talk. That's letter C Masters Talk. And, we are at the tail end of July now, the end of summer. I'm honestly not sure what August holds for us, but I can tell you what, there's going to be some really interesting film choices and film discussions happening next month. So when you catch us again next time, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thanks so much for joining us, and take a swig. If you made it through this review and or Moana, you deserve a drink.
Yup. Cheers.
Until next time.